Hi everyone, I'm Gertie. You may know me from Good Housekeeping's videos like how to sew a gathered skirt or the beginner's guide to sewing. I got my start about 11 years ago as a sewing blogger, and I've now written 5 sewing books. I've designed patterns for Butterick and Simplicity. I have my own line of fabric, and now I have an independent sewing pattern company called Charm Patterns, and I also have my own YouTube sewing show. So I guess at this point you could say I'm a bit of a sewing expert. Today, I'm so excited we're going to watch Ryland Adams attempt to sew for the first time and make his own wedding suit. Okay, here we go.
So today was literally supposed to be the best ever. I was planning on hiring a celebrity stylist to the stars.
Well, the first thing I have to say is this is my new favorite phrase. Celebrity stylist to the stars is just so beautifully redundant, and he is adorable.
Style me, just for one look. And it's like, we're not hiring a stylist today, and instead I thought I would take all of the inspiration photos.
Okay, let's stop at the inspiration. I love this. He is having this like glitter fantasy. The one on the right of the screen is like this glitter lederhosen thing, and I feel like he actually could have replicated this pretty easily with a really beautifully tailored shirt and pair of trousers. And then that looks like a glitter canvas kind of thing that he probably could have had someone recreate for him, like someone who does burlesque costuming or something like that. But he's going down this path of making it himself, which I'm very excited about. And then the one on the left is just amazing in so many ways. So love the inspiration, love where he's going with this.
I gathered myself
That's
for
very
my
cute
dream
too.
wedding look. Take it to Joann's, shop for fabric.
Okay, so Joann's is great for a lot of things, including craft projects, quilting fabrics. I think what he's doing today is he's trying to find sort of a budget version of something that he might eventually want to use, which is another great use of Joann's, is that you always want to test out your design in something inexpensive. You don't want to test it in the $500 a yard fashion fabric. They actually do have a wedding section, by the way. There is like a formal wear, it's called the Casa collection, which I've always really liked.
Section, because so many people are DIYing their wedding looks.
The other thing you're seeing here is the Wall O fleece that is Joann's. They sell a lot of polar fleece. It's huge, right? Because it's very thick. $3.99 a yard for the fleece, okay? So that's a good thing to get at Joann's if you like that kind of thing.
Joann's.
Someone has to make the dresses that you see.
Someone has to make the dresses that you see. I love that
exactly
line.
what I'm looking
She's very
for.
funny.
You could make your dress out of this. Okay, now we're talking.
Okay, so I think they're probably like in the cosplay section right now. Cosplay is very big in the sewing world, and so Joann's is kind of tapping into that. So they're gonna probably find some like latex, like liquidy metallic fabrics, which is what we're seeing.
I'm not making a dress.
She still thinks he's making it.
Answer so much more difficult. This is kind of fun.
Those could make a fun pant.
Those could make a fun pant.
Drawing up.
That's what
So yeah, drawing could have happened now at this
I
point,
do
would have
like
been
the
good.
idea of like maybe a velvet jacket and then the
Okay, velvet, I gotta tell you guys, is really, really, really hard to sew. It's one of the most difficult fabrics to sew because it has what's called a nap or a pile. It has these little hairs that stand up, so when you pet it, it feels like a cat. So, and if you pet it in the wrong direction, it's like the way you don't want to pet a cat, and the cat gets annoyed.
I literally spent hours at the store.
I wish I knew everything that was in that bag, because we didn't really see exactly what he bought or what he decided on. We do see that he bought a sewing machine, so this is literally the first time he is touching a sewing machine, definitely using a sewing machine. So it looks like he bought a Singer, a really entry-level Singer from Joann's. Those, because they're inexpensive and they're mostly plastic, they tend not to last that long. I would say if you could borrow a better machine from someone with more metal parts, I have a Bernina that I really like, a 1008. It's all mechanical, it doesn't have a computer, not fancy, but I would say anything that you're getting for like $99 is not gonna last that long.
That I quite honestly have a whole new respect for fashion designers. I've been having a full-on mental breakdown every step of the way.
Yes,
Just figuring
okay,
out
so
how to thread. The actual sewing machine gave me the most anger I've ever had in my life.
Okay, let's just pause. I really feel for him right now. So if you've never ever threaded a sewing machine, and it looks like he's got the manual out, which you should be looking at. Maybe he looked at some YouTube videos, maybe mine, which shows you how to thread a sewing machine. But it really helps to have someone show you in person how to do this. I wish he had a friend who sews, I'm sure he does, a designer, someone who could have come over and help show him how to thread the upper thread, wind the bobbin, and get started. I wish I'd been there to help him. He's having such a hard time.
I'm using my stencil.
Okay,
that
so
I really
this
love.
is the other thing. This cat is so cute also, by the way. Okay, so he has a jacket that he really likes, it looks like, that he thought he would just lift a pattern off of this by tracing it. That's actually a pretty difficult thing to do because you really have to get the garment flat, pin it down to a tracing, you know, some sort of like, I use cork board. You have to get it really flat and then you have to get like a really beautifully symmetrical pattern from it. What he's done here is he's gone down a path that is gonna be very frustrating for him.
I have no idea if when I get to sewing, this is actually gonna work. And I don't know if my mind can handle it.
So the other thing is you're already working in the velvet. So at this point I would recommend that he be working in muslin because like he said, he doesn't know if the pattern's even gonna work.
Starting this over and doing the process again. So this is the back, and it's gonna be a little cropped, which, it's not even. Yikes. Okay, so
That's
I
the
have my
asymmetry
very
we were looking at.
first portion
Okay, so
of
he's
the chip.
he's about to sew his first seams in a velvet cropped jacket on a pattern that he made himself. Okay.
This is a big deal, everybody. Here we go.
So,
Uh-oh.
Now that I'm editing this, and after I now know how to use the sewing machine,
He sees
I'm
what he does
realizing,
wrong.
The foot isn't down.
okay, the presser foot, which is what the fabric goes under, it needs to be down when you're sewing. Otherwise, this happens.
Of course it's not gonna work.
Okay, great. Not exactly what we wanted.
This is very hard to watch
Oh.
because it's clearly up and he knows something is wrong, but he's forcing it, right? Nothing to be ashamed of. It is the most common beginner mistake when you start sewing.
Oh.
So he got a big,
Please come save
yeah,
me.
he got a big
Are you
nest of thread.
kidding me?
Yeah,
This is gonna be a long, long journey.
it is gonna be a long journey.
Shoot. Oh my gosh.
I love this because he did it. He sewed a seam.
Actually looks pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
so that
beautiful.
is, this is the satisfaction of sewing for yourself when you first sew a seam and it looks kind of good. You're like, yes.
I cannot tell you how many times it had gotten jammed and I would get so frustrated, but now I feel like
The kitty is there through it all. So cute.
It is day 2. I didn't sleep much because I spent all night thinking about how I was going to make this work.
I do that all the time, by the way. I stay awake and think about sewing. So I think he's gonna like get addicted to this, which I really like.
Constructed one of my shirts to use as
This
a
is better
template
the
for
way
this.
he's doing this pattern because he actually took the piece apart that he wanted to replicate and laid it flat.
Imagine this sheer moment.
Ah, this is my other
But
favorite
there's
phrase from this video, sheer moment. I'm gonna use that all the time.
Like a crazy
Yes.
sequin number up front, and then the jacket covers the
The
rest.
jabot.
And then you get-
This is literally where I've been all like, what in the
This is
world?
very
And I'm just so
relatable to
excited
me.
'cause I-
If you're tired, don't sew. Just don't do it. It's like really, it's hard to resist when you're like, you've got one more thing you want to do and you just want to see how this goes. You just want to set this sleeve in velvet into your jacket, but you're so tired. That's when you need to go to bed, okay? And come back to it fresh. Yeah, so he's having a moment here, a little breakdown.
today. So I'm flipping them around.
He's got the presser foot down.
Trying them on for the first. Like,
Okay,
actual
so
time. We gotta hope.
there's
they
no closure in these pants, I think. He's just pulling them up over his nice, slim, boyish hips.
get my butt. Oh.
These are so
okay,
cute.
Work. Hello, pants.
Yes,
Cute. Like,
Very
I
cute.
I obviously need to make the
So using a pattern helped, right? He got a great fit right out of the gate, and he's seeing how cute they look. He chose a great pattern. That slim leg is really flattering on him, and it looks like this is gonna be a really good pattern for him to work from. He's having a velvet moment.
Okay, so today is the day. Everyone's here, and I'm about to reveal my hard work, my 4 days of intense manual labor.
Okay, so we didn't see the sewing of the jabot or the closure in the shirt, so I don't know what happened there. I mean, from a distance, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm very proud of him. There's no like seam finish at the neck or the arms. Oh, this is the reveal.
I have no idea what happened.
I spent my whole last 4 days doing this.
Oh my god.
I love it. I love this poolside photo shoot. As a test, this is kind of great. He now knows that the pant silhouette works for him. I think that the crop jacket looks great on him. I love the jabot. I love the sheer moment. So, I mean, on the upside, he has taught himself how to sew. And he also knows that this look could potentially work for him for his wedding, if that's what he wants to wear. Should he wear this exact outfit to his wedding? No, because there's a lot of construction problems with it, but I think he probably knows that. Yes, I love this on there. So there's no seam finishing going on here, which means that the way the edges of your garment are finished or the interior seam allowances on your garment are finished. So that might be his next step, is to learn about seam finishing. Okay, so where did the zipper come from? He put a zipper, which is a huge feat, into organza and sequins. Why didn't we see this? I'm so proud of him. First of all, he applied and inserted his first zipper that is huge, and it's functioning, so that is great.
My first sewing experience, so my next will be a little more...
This is like professional.
So that's great. He wants to do it again. I'm very happy about that, and he knows that this is just kind of a test. So, I mean,
Man, this is crazy.
Well,
a great outcome.
it's like a crushed velvet.
You hate crushed velvet.
You hate crushed velvet. Well, I kind of feel like once he gets some more luxurious fabrics, that will elevate the look too. So hopefully he's not gonna get the actual fabrics at Joann's. You know, it might be time to hit up the fashion district.
This is everywhere.
I'm very impressed with the jabot because it lays very nicely, so he figured out how to cut that. It looks like it might just be a square that then drapes down. It looks great.
Sectional piece of clothing from just fabric.
So this was...
Okay, so now we're showing the inspiration. He doesn't like that look? I love it. That looks nothing like what you're wearing. It has the same silhouette and the jabot. I'm gonna say jabot as many times as possible.
That was like...
So there's no pockets. I mean, come on. There's no pockets, there's no zipper. It's okay, it's just a test. I wouldn't do pockets for a muslin of a pant anyway.
Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel. I love you very much. Goodbye.
Okay, I loved it. That was adorable. He did such a good job. He taught himself so much in 4 days. I feel like if I were to grade him, first of all, A+ for enthusiasm. He really got in there and did some stuff. For the finished product, I'd have to go more like a C just because of the lack of finishing and, you know, lack of basic foundation of skills like the grain lines and setting in the sleeve and all of that stuff. But that's not his fault, he just started. If I were gonna sew something like this for just a tailored jacket alone, and I sew a lot of coats and jackets, so I usually give myself a good 3 days. Full days, 8 hours of sewing to make a finished coat or jacket, okay? Some simpler styles can be less time than that, but 3 days is a good starting point. So that would be just the jacket. And he's never sewn before, so he did all of this in 4 days. So, I mean, I have to applaud him. I think he did a great job, and I loved watching it. If you want to learn more about sewing, which I hope you do, I have a YouTube channel. I'm Gertie on YouTube, and I post long-form sewing tutorials, jackets, dresses, all sorts of vintage-inspired garments here on YouTube. I also publish patterns. This is my princess coat pattern with charm patterns, so I'm very familiar with tailoring and how hard it can be, so again, really appreciate Ryland's effort. I've written a lot of books, as I mentioned, and if you're a beginner, here is where I would start for you. So this is my book, Gertie Sews Jiffy Dresses. If you want to start sewing vintage-inspired dresses, this is for beginners. And all of the dresses in here should take you about a day to sew. It depends on if you've ever touched a sewing machine before or not. Don't forget to like this video, share your comments below, and subscribe to Good Housekeeping.